Hello everyone and welcome to Birding Tips 101. I just want to go through a few of the basics about birding for some of you that are new. If you're an experienced birder and you want to skip this, that's fine. This is not an assignment. It's just to give you a few tips to get started. So to start with, let's talk about binoculars. So hopefully you had a pair of binoculars or you were able to borrow them, or maybe you went out and bought some for this class. Hopefully you don't have the very cheapest of binoculars, because binoculars really do make a difference. I don't think that you have to buy the most expensive pair out there, but the really cheap ones can be really frustrating. So if you find yourself getting frustrated with your binoculars because you can't find anything and they're blurry and everything's dark, you might want to try getting or borrowing a different pair. So how do you use binoculars? We are all pretty familiar with them. You know, you stick them up to your eyes and you look. But there are a few things about them that I wasn't aware when I first started using them that I think are pretty helpful. So let me talk about those, and maybe you can adjust them better for your needs. So first of all, binoculars adjust to how far apart your eyes are. It's called the ocular distance. Some of us have eyes that are pretty close together, like mine, or you have eyes that are further apart. And so if you take your binoculars, you'll notice that you can bend them. They have a joint in the middle, and that's to adjust to your eyes. So when you look through a pair of binoculars, you should see one solid oval. You shouldn't see two separate images. You should not even really see sort of images that are sort of separate or like black spots on the edges. You should see one solid image. So one of the reasons that might not be happening if you're not getting that might be the ocular distance. So try to adjust them for your eyes. My eyes are so close together that some binoculars won't adjust far enough in for me. So again, if you're really having trouble getting that one solid image and you think it might be your eye distance, you might want to borrow another pair and see if you can get that to work for you. Okay, so besides that, you can also focus. Of course, there's the main focus, which is on top, called the central focus. You should practice with that a little bit. You should be able to find that focus without looking for it. Because when you have your eyes on a bird, the last thing you want to do is have to bring your binoculars down and find that focus. So practice figuring out how it is, where it is, how to feel for it without looking. And then the other thing you want to adjust is you want to adjust each lens for your different eyes. So most of us, our eyes are not the same. They are slightly different, and binoculars adjust for that and compensate for that so that you can have one focus that focuses for both eyes, even though your eyes don't see the exact same way. So we're going to set our binoculars. I'm going to explain how to do that. Sorry, my cat's attacking me. So first thing we're going to do is you're going to look through. Well, first of all, we need to find the ocular lens focus. So usually on the right lens, near the eyepiece, there is a little adjuster. And if you look somewhere on, usually the underside, there's like a little plus and a little minus, and there's a little sort of in between, the mark in between the plus and minus, okay? So if your eyes are exactly the same, then you want your ocular piece to be set right in halfway in between the plus and the minus. So let's put it there to start with. And now we're going to adjust and make sure that it's set for our different eyes. So you're going to put the binoculars up to your eyes, but first you need to find something to focus on. And you need to find something that's far enough away that you can focus on it nice and clearly. So you might want to do this outside. I can do it kind of across the room here because I have a fairly large room. So put your binoculars up, and you're going to close your right eye or block off the right lens, whichever you prefer. And you're going to, with your left hand, you're going to use the central focus, so the main focus, okay? And you're going to focus your left eye on the item that you picked, and make sure you can find that thing again, because you're going to need to find it again. So Find something you can, it's distinguishable, and you're going to use, again, the central focus to get it as focused as you possibly can. Once you get it as crystal clear as you can get it, then we're going to do the same thing with the other eye, but this time, instead of using the central focus, we're going to use the ocular focus. So you're going to block off the left lens, or shut your left eye if that's easier, and then you're going to, using this ocular focus, you're going to look at that exact same thing. It should be close to in focus at this point, but you're going to use the ocular adjustment to get it as really crystal clear as you can get it. So go back and forth a little bit, get it as best you can. Now we should be set. So now you should be able to look at that same thing, and it should be nicely in focus, and you should be seeing one solid image. If you're not seeing one solid image, there's one other possibility, and that is binoculars adjust for whether or not you have glasses. So I have glasses, and so when I look through binoculars, I need these little shadings, these little things, I need them down. So with my binoculars, they twist up and down. Some binoculars have like a little rubber column that either fold down, you fold them down over the edge, or you have them sticking out, okay? So if you have glasses and you're going to look through the glasses into the binoculars, you want them down so that you can get the binoculars closer to your glasses. And when I look with my glasses, the binoculars actually touch the lenses of my glasses. If you don't have glasses, which probably many of you don't, then you want these up. Okay, this does two things. It keeps the binoculars the correct distance away from your eyes so that they focus right. It also helps with sunlight coming in. So it's actually a little better to look through binoculars without glasses. So sometimes if I'm really trying to get a good look at something, I will take my glasses off to do that. But when I do that, I have to readjust these and bring them back out, right? So they should be out, and now you should see one solid, clear image. If it doesn't work, you could try the ocular adjustment again. If that doesn't work and you can't do it, I'd recommend checking out a different pair of binoculars, because you're just going to get frustrated if you work with bad binoculars. Good binoculars are the bomb. Okay, so that's binoculars. Practice, practice, practice. A couple things about finding birds with binoculars. It can be really frustrating because you see a bird, you can see it clear as day with your eyes, and then you go to look with binoculars and you just can't find it. It's so frustrating. It's worth it to practice this skill. This is a skill. It's not that's going to happen immediately. It's a skill to learn to get your binoculars on that bird fast. Okay, so a couple of tips with that. First off, there's a tendency when you're first doing this to, you got the bird, and then you're going to look with binoculars, and so you glance down at your binoculars and bring the binoculars up like that. Once you take your eyes off that bird, you're not going to find it again. So keep your eyes on the bird, and then bring your binoculars up to your eyes. So I see the bird, I'm keeping my binoculars, I have my eyes on the bird, bring my binoculars up. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is, before you bring your binoculars up, take just a millisecond and look at the area around the bird. We're usually so excited about the bird itself that we're just staring right at the bird and we're not noticing any of the features around it. Notice, just for a second, just notice the features that are around it. Like, oh, okay, there's that big dead stick hanging down right above its head. That will really help, because then when I look with my binoculars, if I'm not seeing the bird, which will happen, guaranteed, many times, you might say, oh, but look, there's that dead stick. And I remember it was just below the dead stick. So then you can adjust without having to take your binoculars off, find the bird again with your eyes, and redo. So just take that millisecond, look around the bird, and then bring your binoculars up. Like I said, it is a skill. It's going to take some practice. So I encourage you to get out there and look at birds.